Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Here's what we got today. We have a 1980 280 ZX. It is a nice looking machine, all original, pretty clean, not showroom quality, 63,000 miles. But what's broke on it? Does anyone want to take a guess? Let's take a look at the inside. Here's the beauty. Oh, it's a beaut. What a pretty car. It's been my baby. 2 + 2. Okay, here's what's wrong. Well, it's 63,770, I guess, to be exact. Anyway, we have no fan. Nothing. Now, yesterday I was driving it while in the air-conditioned position, fan running, good cold air coming out. Fan just quit. Obviously, the air conditioner quit. So, we're going to diagnose this problem and try to fix it. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, to diagnose electrical problems, a wiring diagram. Let's see, 1980 280ZX. I'm just using the Haynes manual here. I would recommend this for any vehicle. All right, wiring diagram. We got a heater up here, shows the components, and then the air conditioner components. This is going to be key to try to track this down, and I'll explain a little bit more of that later. The other tools we are going to need, let's go into the toolbox here. Okay, we are going to need a multimeter, basic. Got to have that for any diagnostic applications. I'm going to pick the Autel AL539 Yeah Buddy B. This little thing packs a punch. I'm still learning everything it can do, but coming from Astral, I've learned a lot. So we're going to need some leads. Let's go over, set this on the bench, and we will also need the power probe. I'll show you more about how that's going to be working, and some test leads. All right. Now let's go back to the car, and we'll get to the nitty-gritty of it. Oh, that's a beauty. That is a beauty. Okay, we'll be right back. Forgot one important tool, screwdrivers. We're gonna need a screwdriver. Let's see. Believe it or not, remember, if you saw it on the back, it's a Datsun. Japanese Phillips. Yeah, they're just a little bit different, I believe, than a regular standard Phillips. So there it is. All right, let's get to it. Okay, we've got the power probe hooked up, goes right to the battery. And what's cool about it, it's got a nice long cord, so we can head on over, take it to the vehicle. And what we have is we have a switch position here. So that's positive, and this is negative. Should show you one thing here. So if I touch it to negative, I get a green light saying negative. If I touch it to the positive terminal, I get a red light saying we have power there. It doesn't tell us how much, like we'd have to hook up the multimeter or the Autel 539B. Tell us exactly how many volts we have, but that's what it'll do for you, that part of it. Also has, handy with the end of it here is the a negative for you. So what we're going to do is the blower motor, blower relay is under the passenger side glove compartment. So we are going to take that away. Pads for the knees, yeah, it helps a lot. When you're on your knees working, you want to be as comfortable as possible. One thing I forgot is a flashlight. I really like this flashlight. This is Astro 4OS-L Max rechargeable. It's different, it's got a real stat, so infinite number of brightness, and it can hang. You can put it, it's got a magnet, so it's very versatile. Okay, what we have here is we have 2 screws, 1, 2. Yeah, it's terrible video taping. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to take those 2 screw outs. We'll take this panel down, and then we also have to take this down also. Our fuse box is right here, and we will take a look in there also. Okay, we'll with the 2 screws out, the panel drops down. We have just the under panel light there, 2 wires coming to it. I'm going to disconnect those, and then we'll take, then there's 1 screw for this panel right here, and that actually slides into the ductwork. I'll show you that, but I'll take that out, and then that'll open up all the, the blower motor, the relay, and then there's a blower amplifier in there too. But we'll take a closer look at all those. Okay, that panel is out. I'm going to take this next one, and as Tim at Astro Auto Repairs, you got to check out Tim at Astro Auto Repairs. He taught me about the party line. Basically, we're not going to have too many parts, but what he taught me is that once you take a component off, you put it at the top, and then you add each component you take off down the line, and then you just put it back in reverse. What a concept, easy concept. And you can come back to a job weeks later, months later, and as long as that party line is intact, you will be able to put everything back together in the proper order. Because I can attest, anybody can tear something apart. It's a little more difficult to put it back together properly. Okay, I'm going to take that next panel off. Okay, that panel comes out. As you can see, there's a duct for when you go to the heater position. The duct comes out and it directs the air through this panel, and it'll come out at your feet. Okay, so that's the second thing I've taken off. That's in the party line right there. Thanks, Jimmy. Now everything is open down here. Here is the blower motor right there. That is the blower motor amplifier. And here is the blower motor relay right here. Now, there's a fuse right back here, right under there, which I'm going to pull out. We're going to check that. We'll be right back. So this little white cover just popped off, and then you'll see the fuse right there. That's the blower. It looks good to me, but I'm going to show you how to test that really easy. I'm going to take it. We can do it with the power probe, and I'll show you that technique in a little bit here, but I'm going to pull that fuse out of there, and we'll take a look at it. What I've got, because I need a photographer. I've hooked my multimeter up. I'm using a multimeter. There are so many of these out there on the market, some very cheap, some of them more expensive. All you need is the basic to check voltage, continuity. I have this on the continuity setting right now, a Wi-Fi setting, everybody knows that. All that's telling me is that I have it hooked up here. Doesn't matter red, black, how it goes. But with each end hooked up to the fuse there, I have 0, 0. If I disconnect one end, or the whole thing, it goes to open line. So if that fuse is blowing, I wouldn't have continuity, and I would just stay with the open there. So by doing that, I've verified 100% that this fuse is good. Now you can look at them, and that would probably be cracked in the middle there. But I have had some fuses thinking they looked good, but they were actually blowing. So take the time, double check it, and just to make sure that's good, you can rule that problem out. We'll be right back. We're back on the passenger side here. Knees comfortably on the rubber mat. I love that. Now, the beauty of the power probe. So here's our fan, obviously. Talked about that a little bit before. Now, very easy to verify if the fan itself is working. We know the fuse is good. Remember, we know that with the key on and the fan switch on, we don't have a fan. That's the original complaint. Now I'm right down. I'm going to put power directly to the fan. So the wiring diagram, I have a green wire, which is going to be the ground. In this case, the red is going to be the power. So I've got the black negative of the power probe hooked up to the negative. And then I am just going to touch it to the positive, and then I'm going to give it 12 volts to see if it's going to run. There it is. The fan runs. We know that. Very easy to check with the power probe. The other thing, so we know the fan works. If that fan didn't work with direct power to it, that would probably be the problem, and I would replace the fan. Okay, so we're going to put that back on for now. We'll hook that back up. Sorry, you can't see that. We got that plugged back in directly to the fan. Now, I also know from the wiring diagram, this blue wire with the red stripe right here, that's going into the amplifier of the fan. I know that that wire is the positive. So I should be able to run the fan direct 12 volts to that. That works. So that amplifier seems to be in good shape. The last thing is the relay, which could fail, and I'll show you how to bench check that here also. It's very simple, but an important step in electrical diagnostics. That also has the blue wire with the red stripe running to it. So if we unplug that, well, hold on, the dots and connectors, they're pretty easy to get on and off. You know what, I'm going to take this relay down so you guys can see this a little bit better, the way the relay is actually set up and how that plugs in. We'll be right back. 2 screws, very easy to take down. Taking the relay down, very easy to do. That's the orientation. We got the red and the yellow, and then the blue with the white and a black wire at the top. So if we remember that orientation, when we go to bench test it, that's going to be helpful. So just put that in your mind. Power is going to be the top left, and then the negative will be the top right, and then red and yellow on the bottom. Okay, we'll be right back. One more thing I wanted to show you. Remember, we know which wire is the positive in this case. It's the blue with the red stripe. I just want to show you that just like we could run the fan directly, we can run it through the relay with the power probe. We just put 12 volts into that blue wire, and just like that. So we know, we're pretty sure the relay works, but let's take a second. I'm going to pull that off. I'm just going to show you how you can double check that relay is actually working. Okay, bench testing a relay, which is really a switch. It's a switch that operates on 12 volts, opens and closes, and then sends power to its respective component. Now, I'm no expert. Yeah, it is the way I learned it, and so I'm sure it's not totally correct, but you get the idea. So we got our multimeter hooked up. Now remember, the top left was the power, the top right was the ground in this case, and then the 2 bottom probes were where once the switch is flipped, that's where it's going to make a connection. So first things first. Now I have a small 12 volt battery. Well, it's actually 11.1 volts. It actually powers some of my RC airplanes. I know you guys may not care about that. You might. If you want to see a video on that, let me know. They are a lot of fun. I've got a few of them hanging around. But anyway, sidebar. Let's stick on task. How about that? Okay, so we got black to black, red to red. So we got 11.1 volts. We'll call it 12 volts. Now, when I remember, the top left probe was the power. So now listen. If this relay is working, we should hear click. Power off. That's the first check. Now, second one. Right now we have an open line. Remember, back to the continuity. We're checking continuity off those 2 bottom ones, the yellow jumpers there. By the way, these jumper wires are very valuable for this type of thing too. Cheap. You can get them on Amazon, auto parts store, wherever. Anyway, what I'm looking for now is when I apply 12 volts to the relay, what we're looking for is to have continuity. So we'll hear the relay open. Second part of the equation is the switch opened, closed, we have continuity. Power. So that verifies, well, as far as I know, that relay is working. Right now I got power to it, stays open. I'm confident that relay is good. If anybody has questions on that, I can try to answer them. But anyway, this little battery is acting as the car battery right now. That's what it's doing. So I take the power off, the switch opens, and we have an open line. Okay, so far we verified the fan is good with the power probe. We verified the amplifier seems to be working, and we've definitely checked out the relay. We know this relay is working. So I'm going to put that back in, and we'll move on to the next step. See why this fan won't work through the rheostat. Okay, we'll be right back. Passenger side, we're looking for the fuses. We're going to do some inspection of the fuses. Could have done this earlier, but I did want to show you how to test the individual components. So anyway, looks like we got the hazard at the top right. We got the air conditioner at the bottom top, or the left side top. Visual inspection of that air conditioner. That one's blowing. Okay, so that's gonna definitely blowing. All right, we'll also use the power probe to verify that is blowing. This second one here, second one down, is the dome light. The dome light is on right now. Some of these components may not have 12 volts to them until you turn the key on, but we could do this with a multimeter too. But we can see we have 12 volts there. That dome light is on. We know that 12 volts on both sides. If that fuse was blowing, the dome light wouldn't be on, and we wouldn't have 12 volts to both sides. Power couldn't get through the fuse because it's blown. Now this air conditioner, and you know, the new style fuses are probably easier to check than this style, the old ones, but I'll do a video on testing new ones too. It's what this is going to show is remember, green is negative, and red is positive. So we don't have any. We should have 12 volts somewhere. We don't have. Oh, yeah, the key's probably got to be on for that one. There's my example that some components aren't going to test properly unless you have power to them. So, okay, now we see we have 12 volts, the red light at the top of the fuse, but not the bottom. So we know, we verified with the power probe that fuse is blown too. And the way the dome light works, we got 12 volts there, 12 volts there. So we know that fuse is good. And you can check them all that way. Okay, we'll be right back. I verified, remember how we did that with continuity? That fuse is indeed blowing. We can see that. So we know that's probably what our problem is. 20 amp fuse. So let's go get a new 20 amp fuse. It is important to realize that we want to put the same fuse back in. So of course, these new style fuses, here they are. They're easier to test because you can hit the probe right on each side there. But I'll do a video on that if you're interested. Okay, 20 amp fuse. Here we go. Now, what I'm thinking is that we have a problem in the, because remember, this fuse blew when I had the air conditioning on driving down the road. I had been running the vent earlier, and it got hotter out, so I put the AC on. That's when it blew. So that's part of my thinking process. Is now that I found this fuse, we're going to verify that it doesn't blow on. And you can see in the wiring diagram, the air conditioning system is tied into the relay, obviously, to run the fan. So But we're gonna make sure it just doesn't blow when I put it back in, and the new one back in, 20 amp fuse. Okay, we'll just put that new one in there. It shouldn't blow. We know that it probably doesn't have any power to it right now until the key's on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the key on, and oh, there we go. We have fan. We know if we take that fuse out, that fan's gonna quit. So we'll run that for a while, make sure it just doesn't blow without the AC. See, I'm in vent right now, and obviously the motor's not running, so we wouldn't have AC anyway. However, if there's a short in that line, it's possible if I went to AC that fuse would blow. But what we've done here is we've verified at least you got a fan back if it's winter time, and you know your fan's gonna work to blow air, or at least vent air. So we've made progress. The steps we went through to verify the fan worked, the relay worked, the amplifier worked, and then we checked fuses. So problem is in the AC system, and that's going to be for another video. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. I know I need to do some work on my photography, but anyway, I'll let that run here for just a little bit. And remember the power probe is very valuable. It's very inexpensive. There's a multitude of different manufacturers. Remember the party line, don't step on it. I don't think you need to see me put this back together. I don't know if I will yet till I get into the AC system, but there's the car. It is a beauty. Again, thanks for watching, and any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. If that was clear on testing relays and the diagnostic procedures that I went through. If you have any questions about tools, let me know. I appreciate it. Take care. Subscribe if you want.